is the Dairy Brothers Tribecast, a podcast for diehard Cleveland Indians fans. Presented to you by waitingfornextyear.com. Now, here are the hosts, Matt and Todd Dairy.
All right, a big weekend for the fellas. Yes, it is indeed the Dairy Brothers Tribecast, and welcome in. The Indians seemingly back on the radar. A sweep on the road at the hands of the despicable and minor league Detroit Tigers. Yes, it was the Tigers, and they are a laughingstock, but Cleveland Indians get it done. As we welcome you into the program, we talk Tribe with you, and we're brought to you by our friends at waitingfornextyear.com. That's where you find this very podcast, and also our friends at grooveride.com. We'll talk about the sweep for the weekend. Hey, the boys have won 8 of 11. What's been good? What's been bad? The return of Mike Clevenger to the rotation. Tito having a great handle on his team, and the team that they played this weekend not having a very good handle on his team. We'll discuss that, plus my road trip, my Dairy Brothers Tribecast on location Saturday night for Indians Tigers. Todd back from the beach and is with me as well. What's up, buddy?
Listen, way to get it done this weekend. Sweep in your town. That's all you can ask for. I asked you for these 2. You delivered 3. Nice work.
Hey, we did our best. Saturday night, it was a lot of fun. In the rain, it was a horrible weather weekend, but the Indians and Tigers got it done and got the games in. But Saturday night, between my daughter wanting Dippin' Dots and being freezing cold and wearing my sweatshirt, and me just being in the Kipnis 22 T-shirt, we trudged through, man. Had to get that win.
You know what's interesting, by the way? That your daughter wanted to have Dippin' Dots, and Dippin' Dots, back in 1985, Dippin' Dots was ice cream of the future, and they're still calling it ice cream of the future. It's not ice cream. It doesn't taste good, and they still call it ice cream of the future. It's stupid. The whole thing is, give me some Pierre's, baby. Screw Dippin' Dots.
Wait till you taste it. Wait till you taste Pierre's. Oh, for sure. But it is Comerica Park. They don't have anything really that good there. I mean, not that I'm ripping Dippin' Dots, but let's call it what it is. And my daughter, and Reese even made the comment. She's like, "Oh, Progressive Field's so much better." I'm like, "Right. Thank you."
Right. Of course it is.
It's not even close, but big day today.
It's not like that amusement park in the corner of Montcalm and Witherell.
Whatever. Hey, they're horrible, and I love beating up on them whenever we can. And today, Trevor Bauer, a complete game shutout. First complete game for him since 2016, but first complete game shutout in his career. And look, Todd, I mean, the Tigers are horrible. All right, let's preface it by saying it was a big weekend, and the Indians have won 8 of 11, and they're playing better, and they put up 13 runs on Friday, 8 today. You know, a 25-run weekend's pretty darn good for them. But, let's start with Bauer. Looking good, and all of his pitches working today. And, look, this is the kind of weekend this team needed.
It certainly helps when you get to face a minor league club like the Tigers to get yourself right. But in all seriousness, Bauer was really great. He didn't walk anybody, did he?
No.
I know, yeah. This is the kind of start that, well, for several reasons, was really huge. If you're thinking about their run to the wild card, which they're well on their way, winning 8 of 11, and you need that guy to be the front in Trevor Bauer, and finding him, this was that start. And then on the other hand, if this was another showcase opportunity for a big deal, Bauer looked fantastic. So the contenders are probably drooling. Hey, I don't want to talk about the trading him right now because I think we're in the thick of it. But the Yankees just got they're getting Stanton and Judge back. They just demoted Clint Frazier, who, if the Yankees and the Indians were to talk trade, he'd obviously be a centerpiece. And if the Indians did get him back, he'd play right field every day and back cleanup. But that's neither here nor there. But it was great to see Trevor dominate the way he did. Bieber was fantastic last night too. We've said it many times with this team. This is the formula to win. Great starting pitching and timely hitting.
Here's the other thing, and we've talked so much on this show and on this podcast about the Indians' offense and how bad it's been. And yes, you're right. One weekend doesn't matter. I mean, look, the Reds held them in check earlier in the week, and we were going crazy about the lineup. They get to Detroit, and they're facing the likes of Ryan Carpenter and Gregory Soto, and today Spencer Turnbull, who actually isn't terrible, and the Indians had some pretty good swings against him, and they'll see Spencer Turnbull again on Friday at Progressive Field, as we'll be the first to give you all the pitching matchups. No one does it better than us.
But no one does it better than you.
This is a togetherness project here. But when you look at the offense, yes, it awoke, and that was nice, and Friday was great. But the Indians played good baseball, Todd, this weekend, and really all week. Oscar Mercado flying in, making plays in left field, hitting cutoff men and getting guys out at the plate, turning double plays. And I know Frankie had the error the other night on Friday. But other than that, I mean, you watch the Tigers kick the ball all over the field. They couldn't get out of their own way, especially Saturday in the rain. And I saw a stat today: the Indians' infield on ground balls with Ramirez, Lindor, Kipnis, and Santana is number one in majors in fielding ground balls. So they're making plays. And Kipnis awoke today with the bat, which is good. He said he came up with something with his hands, and from Saturday to Sunday, all of a sudden turned it around. And Tito played a hunch and put him back in the cleanup spot today. Boy, did that work. So at least for now, going into Texas this week and then the Tigers back at home, the Indians are feeling pretty good.
It's so funny. I saw the lineup this morning. I saw Kipnis was back in the cleanup spot, and all I could think of was, geez, Tito's just banging that drum. He is going to beat this horse to death. If Yu Chang was healthy and hitting well in AAA, he'd probably be up right now playing second base, and Kipnis, maybe in the platoon. And here we are. I think everybody, all Tribe fans, are like, oh, Kipnis in the cleanup spot again. And, clean up Kip, first two times up, RBI double in the first, and then he hit the bomb in the third. So, it was good to see. Listen, you and I have said this many times in this podcast. We root for Kip. We know what he is at this point, but guy's been a great Indian for a long time, and I said this last time or two times ago. I think over time he will be looked back in a more positive light than he is now, just because this is the twilight of his Tribe career. But going back to the offense as a whole, my man Jay, former fellow WFN wire, he put up on Twitter today this stat: in the last 18 games, the Indians' offense has averaged 4.06 extra base hits per game and 5.47 runs per game. In the first 52 games, they were only averaging 2.36 extra base hits per game and 3.8 runs. So
wow.
They're averaging almost 2 full runs more a game. That's exactly what this team needs.
Matt and Todd Derry with you, the Derry Brothers Tribecast on waitingfornextyear.com, brought to you by Groove Ride. Indians get the sweep, now 4 games above 500. They beat up on the Tigers this weekend, who are just an absolute clown show. Gart and I are getting ejected last night. And then, did you see this, Todd? His bench coach said, the other thing, we haven't even brought this up yet. We're 8 minutes into the show. Leonis Martin stole home against a right-handed pitcher. Think about that for a second. Right? Anytime you see a guy steal home, go back and watch This Week in Baseball. Bust out your old VCR tapes. We have them.
Mel Allen.
Where are those tapes, by the way?
What about the baseball bunch?
You got a hunch you'll love the baseball bunch. Where are those This Week in Baseball TWIB tapes we used to have? Remember those?
They're probably still in the drawers underneath the TV, in Mom's TV. The drawers, the pull-out drawers?
Yeah.
Yeah, all those VCR tapes are probably still there with, Howard Stern Butt Bongo Fiesta.
That and Pure Pistons or Pump It Up Pistons and Saviors, Saints, and Sinners is probably there as well.
NFL 81, that was another good one we used to watch.
Oh, shit, man, that's good stuff.
What about Dazzling Dunks and basketball bloopers?
With Frank Layden. Anyway, where was I? I don't even know what I was talking about. So anyway, anytime you watch This Week in Baseball and you see these old footage of like Ricky Henderson stealing home or whatever, the pitcher's always left-handed because his back is turned. This Alcantara kid from the Tigers, he just put his head down and almost like took a nap as he was in the and from the stretch, and Leonis Martin, we had a great angle of it where I was, about 6 rows from home plate on the third base side. And just all of a sudden you just see him go, and he made it. It was unbelievable. And, again, it'll be a better test the next 4 days, starting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Going to Texas, playing a team above 500, also in the wild card race against the Rangers. But, Leonis Martin stealing home. I wonder, Todd, if this buys Leo Martin a couple more weeks.
That's you bring something up I just wanted to talk about. He hit that 3-run bomb. He stole home. I think in a perfect world, Leonis would be the 4th outfielder. I could live with him playing twice a week, and being the defensive replacement in center field if we had real outfielders. You know what I mean? But I'm still on the team of DFA him, bring up Bobby Bradley, move Oscar to center field, Jake Bauer's left field. A cycle on Friday night, which was pretty great. But
unreal.
I think Leo's bought himself more time. Terry Pluto he had in his piece on Sunday. He thinks Bobby Bradley will be up in July. I still wonder if Leonis and Bobby Bradley are tied into each other.
Well, here's the thing. I know that the Indians have to call up. They have to activate Clevenger tomorrow and put a bullpen guy back down. But what do we?
Josh Smith. Josh Smith can go. The guy does nothing for him.
Well, but how many
4 left-handers?
How many relievers do we have? Did Tyler Olson pitch this weekend? I don't even know. I don't even know if he's on the team.
I don't think I saw him. He definitely didn't pitch Saturday, and he definitely didn't pitch yesterday. Today.
Well, yeah. Nobody pitched today other than Bauer. So,
right.
I'm lost on how many relievers we even have active. So to me, yeah.
What about Clippard? Did Clippard pitch?
Yeah, Clippard pitched Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Yes. But to me, it's pretty simple. Bobby Bradley should be up, and one of those other relievers should be down, and then you're right, Josh Smith will go, and when Clevenger comes up, Bobby hit 2 more bombs. The assassin at AA Columbus, he's 23, and now has 22 home runs. And I understand, like Brandon Barnes has a bunch of home runs, and Eric Haas has a bunch of home runs, and it is AAA, and we've heard about the strikeout rate, which is alarming for Bradley, but that power, oh my gosh. Put him in that cleanup spot and forget about it. He's on fire right now.
It reminds me a lot of Jesus Aguilar. When Jesus Aguilar was a perennial prospect, but he was never really that highly rated. I think a lot of people kind of overlook that part now that although he's fallen completely off in Milwaukee. I know he went deep today, but he's having a terrible season. But Jesus Aguilar was never great, and when the Indians dropped him and he got a chance in Milwaukee, it was like Gio. He had plenty of opportunities. He just wasn't he wasn't good. I know he was blocked by Carlos and he was blocked by Edwin, but he just wasn't any good. Bobby Bradley, you got to see what you have here. Jesus Aguilar didn't have power like this, and if he did, and when he was doing it, there were guys in front of him that were proven. It's not like there's not a spot for him to play. He can DH against right-handed pitching, no problem. And if he comes up and he's a gigantic failure, send him back down. But it's not like you are losing anything, in the current situation. Jason Kipnis is hitting cleanup, for God's sake.
Oh, you're right, Matt and Todd Derry Brothers Tribecast, and again, Bobby Bradley. And again, it gets more illuminated, Todd, because everybody's on social media now, and the guy hits a home run in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, or Mahoning, or Lehigh Valley, or wherever they were today. Lehigh Valley, the Yankees AAA affiliate, and immediately it's posted on social media within 10 minutes. So we're able to see it. What's that?
Phillies, I thought.
Who's, I thought it was the Yankees.
Scranton Wilkes-Barre is the Yankees.
Oh, yeah, Lehigh. Yeah, that's right. Lehigh Valley, and then
is Philadelphia.
But they don't even call themselves Scranton Wilkes-Barre anymore. They got a different name. Whatever it is, he hit 2 bombs today, and everybody can see it, and they can see the massive power that he has. And
yeah.
We're on our bench again. You're talking Plawecki, Freeman, and whoever the 4th outfielder is that day, whether it's Luplow or Naquin. So it's not like we have a ton of guys on that bench. And Come on, Nick Goody's up on the team. He pitched Friday.
Oh my God, I forgot he's still around. There's just too many relievers, especially when the starting pitching is rolling the way it is.
Right.
And you need another guy on the bench. It goes back to what we talked about last week. He eliminated in the that late game situation where he pinch hit for Robo, and then Plawecki had to come into the game, and then whoever it was, the outfielder, had to come out, and then all of a sudden it was Freeman, and then it was 3-1. It was ridiculous. I mean, you eliminated your bench in one move because you don't have carrying 8,000 relief pitchers. That's got to change. I totally agree with you on that. And you know what else? Going back to the Bobby Bradley, one last thing, and you're totally right about social media. When Bobby Bradley goes, I every time I see I follow the Clippers on Twitter.
Sure.
I send you and Jeremy the clip. It's like, yep, look who just went deep. Bobby Bradley again.
No, he's really good, and I know the strikeout rate is alarming, but look around baseball. That the strikeout rate's alarming for everybody. I mean, last night I know it was raining and it was sprinkling when when the game started. I would say about the second or third inning, it's really started to rain. Bieber was striking everybody out. Now, again, we have to preface this is as bad a team as they've played all year in the Tigers. They're an embarrassment. But with that being said, there's still a couple of major leaguers he was striking out. Nick Castellanos is a major leaguer. Miguel Cabrera, who's still, no matter on one leg, one knee, 40 years old, whatever it is, and he's got 4 more years left on that fat deal, still kills the Tigers. Still kills the Indians, I should say. Homered on Friday, and he had 3 hits Saturday. Gardenhire kept him out of the lineup today, and I guess Miggy must need his rest. Thank you to Ron Gardenhire, by the way. Appreciate that you rested Goodrum and Cabrera today. And I know they're horrible, and who cares? But seriously, that was a huge break for the Indians. They're not playing tomorrow. What are you resting guys for 2 days? Okay, thanks, Gardy. Appreciate that.
Did you like when he pinch ran him? He wasn't even the tying run in the 9th last night. Like, it doesn't. His run doesn't matter. Why would you take him out? If you tie the game, then you lose his bat. I saw that when he singled against Hand or doubled against Hand in the ninth. Yeah. I
was thinking.
Why would you pinch run? That run doesn't matter.
I said that to Ray Bennett. Ray was with me last night, and a converted Tribe fan, Ray Bennett, and the biggest Justin Verlander hater of all time. Ray was to my left, and I said the same thing. Why are you pinch running Cabrera here for Gordon Beckham? Can you believe Gordon Beckham's back in the majors?
It's only a matter of time before he makes his way to the Indians, because I think he's been on every other team in the division. But yeah, so
that's true.
Miggy's got 4 more years left at like $30+ million, and he's never. Why would you retire when somebody's stupid enough to hand you that money for free? So there's that. And then Nick Castellanos. When you say he's a couple major league players, he's a major league bat. He certainly isn't a major league glove.
Ooh.
He might be the worst outfielder I've ever seen. That play he made on that loop low ball, he looked like a little leaguer trying to make that play. Hit his back. What was he doing on that?
He turned around about 3 times, and it was raining and it was windy, but you got to at least, the ball hit the ball off the bat. I'm like, there's a fly out. That was, and it carried, but that was a really bad play.
Yeah, he looked like Andrew out there in T-ball. No, but in all seriousness, Castellanos was a name that had been, rumored for the Indians for the last probably 2 years, 3 years on trade. I know he's a good hitter, and if he wants to come here for a bag of baseballs to DH, that's fine, but I wouldn't be giving up anything for him. And I know he's a free agent, and he's frustrated that the Tigers don't want to sign him. Well, why would you want to sign someone who can't field?
No, it's a problem, and they also waited too many years to finally decide to move him to first base, or at least attempt to move him last September. And Castellanos, I don't want to turn this into the Dairy Brothers Tiger cast, but the Castellanos told the Tigers, I'm not moving. You've moved me from short to third, third to left, left back to third, and third to right. I'm not moving again until you give me a contract extension. And he fired his agent David Meter, who is Lindor's agent, and just hired Scott Boras recently. So he's as good as gone from Detroit. And I guess the Indians, if they were going to continue to playing well and add a piece and collect, spend the $4.5-5 million it would take for Castellanos for the rest of the season, You're right. It would have to be DH. You do not want him in the outfield.
Speaking of $4.5 million, I heard that Danny Salazar was actually getting close to joining Columbus. And
is that true?
See some real game action. Yes.
Is he going to be working? Is he going to be working at Swenson's?
he's.
Is he going to be? Is he going to be doing the? Is he going to be on the grounds crew at Clippers games? Danny Salazar, who's that? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Danny Salazar, former All-Star Danny Salazar. I saw a guy, by the way, at an Indians game this week, wearing a Danny Salazar All-Star. It was like from the Padres.
Yeah. The yellow and the brown and yellow shirts.
Yeah, I saw him wearing a Danny Salazar All-Star jersey. And all I can think about is that might be one of the worst purchases I've ever seen.
We walked the concourse to get over to our section last night, and I was walking behind a Will Cordero Tribe jersey.
Oh, wife! You know what? I've seen that guy. Was it a Navy one with red letters?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that guy before at Indians games. How could you wear a wife-beater Will jersey? Like, of all people.
Ooh,
that's where you're going?
That's pretty good. I was almost going to take a picture and send it to Zach, but
you should have. But
I was slow on the draw.
No, many people have. He's tweeted that one out before.
All right, Matt and Todd Derry, this is the Derry Brothers Tribecast, recording following a Indian sweep over the Tigers. Got to get into a guy that's swinging the bat better, and maybe the numbers don't technically tell the whole story. Oscar Mercado as well. We got to discuss him because, Todd, I'm seeing something, man, that could be special here. We'll preview the week ahead, but first, Todd's going to tell you about Groove Ride, our fantastic sponsor, and a place where Todd it's basically a second home.
I'm going to make this one short and sweet. You've heard me talk about the 3 locations many times. Right now, it's the summertime. You want to look great. Got to get that beach body going on. Check them out, grooveride.com. Right now, they have the summer package, which is still 30 classes for $300. They're only doing it during the summer. They do this once a year. For a couple months, they run it. You've got to capitalize on this deal. Check out, wherever you might be, downtown, Shaker Heights, Woodmere, on the east side. Check them out, grooveride.com. Spinning, boxing, boot camp, bar, yoga, they got it all. Check them out at grooveride.com, grooveryde.com. Tell them I sent you.
All right, there it is. We love the folks at Groove Ride. We thank them as well for being with us. Indians heading to Texas. All right, let's get into Jose Ramirez for a second. I got to be honest. This will be the first time in a while that you and I are not going to sit here and just bash this guy. Nobody is saying that Jose Ramirez is 100% back. Nobody is saying that he's on some sort of roll here. But he's still hitting 203. But man, I watched every single at bat this weekend. He hit some balls very, very hard. And sitting there Saturday night and watching him in person, the ball he drove to center field would have been gone in every other stadium in the majors, except Detroit, which is 420 to dead center when Castro made that ridiculous play over it was a great play, robbing Ramirez of a really hard hit ball from the right side. He hit a ball to the warning track Saturday night from the left side against Castellanos. He's hit the ball hard all weekend. Not a ton to show for it. He had a hit today, but Todd, could this be where he goes to Texas, where it's going to be hot? It's always a hitter's friendly place. Maybe finally we could say he's turning the corner a little bit.
I mean, I want to get my hopes up. I really do, because I love the guy. But until I see 2-3 weeks, a month of consistent hitting, it's hard for me to get too excited. We're still on a full year of, essentially, as that SI article that Tom Verducci wrote, statistically the worst hitter in the American League. So, my hopes up. I want this to become a reality, but, again, I'm going to temper my excitement. Let's see what happens over this, this big stretch. Like Texas, it's going to be hot. The ball's going to be, jumping there. He's so worried about going to all fields when he should go back to pulling and doing what he does best. We'll see. As we've said many times, the Indians don't have any other options at third base that are legitimate, so he's going to have to play. So let's see what happens. I mean, what are you seeing that maybe that I'm not?
No, I'm just being there in person Saturday, and then watching the at bats. And even today, late in the game, it was I think it was Carlos Torres was pitching. It was the eighth inning.
God.
Oh, I know. I mean, the Tigers. I could sit here and bash. Do you understand how much I love when we beat them? I mean, it's. I've lived here 23 years. All right, and their fans are great. I'll be honest. I keep saying I'll be honest. Why wouldn't I be honest? Their fans are great to me at Comerica Park. Wally, the usher in 131, love that man. They're always.
He's no Annie, that's for sure.
Well, your ushers are top notch. Wally's a good guy,
yes,
but
they are. Annie and Josh rule.
But there were a bunch of Tribe fans there. I know our buddy Owen Latimer from 92.3 was in the house. The Tiger fans are fine. It's not that. It's their awful customer service. But no, I just being there in person. Even today in the eighth inning, like I said, he turned on a ball and nearly whacked out a 3-run homer. It was just foul. I'm just seeing more balls, squared up, as they say, barreled. I'm seeing barrels finally, because normally it's just all pop-ups.
Well, that's good, but as you said, you're seeing something different in person. What I see in person a lot of pop-ups.
Yeah.
So I've been to, let me see. I started off the season 5-1. I am now 6-9, which is insane. But I've seen lots and lots of Jose and been frustrated a lot. So, like I said, it's just hard for me to get my hopes up until I see a nice 2 or 3 week stretch. But you see flashes, and you hope he's. And I'll tell you another thing. He's been when he gets on base, he's been stealing bases, which has been nice. He made a nice diving play at third earlier in the week. The day game that they lost, I was there on Wednesday. But again, let's see him put 2 or 3 weeks stretch together before we get excited.
4 for 13 over the weekend is nothing to go crazy about. I'm just telling you, I see something.
Improvement.
I'm calling it. I'll call it. I think this week's the big week. I think he can mash, Lance Lynn and some of these guys they're seeing in Texas starting tomorrow. Good hitters park. You come home for the Tigers. We'll miss Matt Boyd again, which is a huge break. He's pitching Wednesday in Pittsburgh, so just throwing it out there. Maybe he looks less jumpy in the box, and that's a good thing. What about Mercado, Todd? I'm telling you, this guy.
Now we're talking.
This guy is he's a gazelle out there. And another 3-hit day today, still hitting over 300, OPS at 817. You look at the top of that order with Frankie, and all right, Frankie, and Mercado and Santana. They're keeping him afloat, but Oscar's doing it all, man. He's just doing it all, and running too.
I love everything about him. The only thing I don't love about him is that we didn't see him sooner. I mean,
right.
This is by the way, this is the Anthony Lima's favorite bit is in 2015 the Indians waited too long to bring up Lindor and they missed the playoffs by a game. And is this going to be the same situation with Mercado? I would have liked to have seen him earlier. I agree. The infatuation with Nate when I'll never understand it. But Mercado is really doing everything. And I said this before, I'll say it again. The next step is moving him to where he belongs, which is center field. But at least Tito has embraced him finally. When he first came up, it was...
I know, playing him once a week.
Oh, spotty play, and we were watching the Daquin play all the time, and we were... he's putting Mike Freeman in left field on occasion. I'm thinking to myself, is this a joke here? But the good news is now he's settled in that 2 spot, which they needed someone who was going to be a consistent bat there. Right-handed bat, which is another thing the Indians have needed badly. And he's been fantastic. And he goes to all fields.
Right.
It's interesting that the defensive metrics, the defensive metrics don't love him as much as we do with our eyes. But he's obviously got good range, good speed, runs the bases well. I just love everything about him. And he should play every single day and never sit.
you look up and you say, Tito's finally embraced him, and people are bagging on Tito and the bunting, and that took place again on Friday night. But whatever, I don't want to get into that because that just riles you up. But I love it.
The game earlier in the week when I lost it.
The game against the Reds.
Yes.
I'm trying to forget the Ohio Cup.
Two on and nobody out. And Oscar came up. He laid down a sack bunt.
Right.
And then we did, and
we didn't score. And then Naquin.
Carlos and Naquin ground into a double play.
Right. You can. Right. Like we could talk about. Okay. Here we go. I didn't want to do it, but we'll do it. If you have if I ever see Tyler Naquin hitting fourth again, seriously, stop. You're right. Santana walks 50 times a game now because of who we have in the cleanup spot. A more reason to get Bobby Bradley up here, but that's neither here nor there. But you're right. That it's time now with Mercado. Just let him loose. Let him be him and bunting him unless it's first and second in the ninth inning of a tie game or something like that. Forget it. It's unacceptable.
Mercado should never be bunting ever. In the third inning of a 1-0 game to be bunting. So I was at the game. Okay, we were down. Oh no, we were down. Sorry, we were down 2. It was either 2-0 or 2-1.
Was it the night game? Was it the day game or night game?
It was the day game. It was day game
on Wednesday. Right.
I was there with. It was either Andrew or I think it was Andrew. Yeah, it had to have been Andrew. I was there with Andrew. He lays down the bunt, and I lost it. I stood up and screamed boo at the top of my lungs, and I believe I yelled, "What the fuck are you doing, Tito?" And then I tweeted this. I turned to Andrew. I said the same thing. I go, they're going to, in the unintentional, intentional walk, give Carlos nothing to see. He's going to walk, and they're going to load the bases to get to Naquin. And sure enough, Naquin grounds into a double play. I screamed boo at the top of my lungs. I'm like, keep on bunting, Tito. That's what you get. That's what you, seriously.
No, we deserved it. We deserved it.
Show.
No, it was horrible.
Okay,
and today,
rant is over. I needed to get that off my chest.
What I loved about
for Losers, volume 8,520.
What I loved about today too with Oscar was they intentionally walked Lindor. I don't remember what inning it was. I think it was the fourth, and it was 4-0. And Turnbull was on the ropes, and he throws a pretty good fastball in the hands at Mercado, and he just fisted it into right. He muscled it in there. The dude knows how to hit. He didn't try to turn on it and foul it off or swing and miss. He's a professional, and I'm with Tony Lima. I wish somehow, some way he would have been here earlier. I don't know if that would have saved the season here and the division and everything else. But man, oh man, he's a really, really good player, and it was fun to watch him in person.
And we got a commitment from Anthony to come on the podcast soon. So we'll have that conversation on the pod.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's really into baseball and tweeting out about baseball.
I like it. Listen, the more people that talk about the Indians, the better.
All right, so no question. All right, so this weekend, one other thing I really liked, and that was Tito's conversation Friday before the game with Jake Bauers, just kind of telling him, look, you may be hearing about AAA. We know you're struggling. Just relax. Don't overthink things. The guy goes out and hits for the cycle, and it's not like he lit up the entire weekend. He hit some balls hard and everything else. But Friday with the cycle and going for the home run when Shane Bieber told him to was pretty sweet. And hopefully it's a sign of things to come for Bauers. But again, we can bag on Tito all we want, but the guys listen. The guys pay attention, and he reaches them. And that was a huge storyline on Friday.
No, nobody's ever going to question Tito's standing with the players or respect they have, the respect the players have for him. I would never bring that into question, and that's the main reason that I love the guy. Right? I mean, that's what you get when you have him. The tactician stuff is what's been driving me crazy of late, and I think I'm also starting to fatigue with old school baseball thinking. When I've become more into sabermetrics and into the numbers and just overall, I'm thinking more. It's a more forward-thinking game, but you can't say enough about how he reaches the players and the respect the players have for him. So, that's all good by me. So, in the meantime, it was a good conversation to have with Bauers. He responded, and he's probably now feeling a little bit better about his standing on the team and where he is. Because, I mean, listen, Bobby Bradley could come up very easily and he could be the guy who goes. But from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like he will be the guy when Bobby Bradley does eventually come up. But, Bowers was a guy who came over, obviously, in that three-way trade with Carlos and Edwin and Yandy Diaz, and the way Yandy's raking went deep again this week, and the way Jose's been playing at third, and the fact he needs to have the backup playing at third, it makes Bowers, slow start, if you will, even more focused on. So we'll see. Jake's got to have a full season. I don't think he'll go down. Give him a full season, see what he does before we judge.
No, I liked him coming out of Tampa, and I thought he had a shot, and I've been disappointed. But, I think it was earlier this week I texted you.
I have too.
I think I texted you and said I'm done with him, and then that's just me. That's just me being a little emotional. And then Friday he goes for the cycle. So, and hey, we wore our blue uniforms, which I really like, all weekend.
I do too. Good look.
So hopefully we keep those up even in that heat down in Texas. All right, so the Indians are going to play the Rangers all week. 4 games in Texas. I think the fourth game a day game on Thursday. I thought it was, maybe it's all night games. Hold on, we'll have to double check this.
I don't know, and I don't have it in front of me, obviously.
Yeah, the game on Thursday is at 2:05. Texas right now is the second wild card by a half a game over the Red Sox. The Red Sox and Rangers are tied, but the Texas actually has a better win percentage. And then the Indians are a half game back. Again, it's June 16th, so I can relax and not go too crazy. Although it was 58 degrees and cold today here in the Midwest. So
all I hear about all weekend long was how miserable the weather was in Cleveland.
Brutal. So we got Mike Clevenger against Lance Lynn, your boy, on Monday.
Lance Lynn. Are you talking about Ryan Dempster? Kyle Loesch, Lance Lynn, they're the same person.
They're pretty close. You could throw what's his nuts in there as well. The kid from
Wade Miley, the those guys?
Andrew Kashner.
Yes, Andrew Kashner. All those guys are all the same.
And a guy in the Tigers who's actually hurt is very Lance Lynn-esque. Tyson Ross, the biggest boss. All right, so Clevenger and Lance Lynn on Monday. Zach Plesac and Adrian Sampson, former reliever turned starter on Tuesday. That's another right-hander. Wednesday, Plutko, to be determined for the Rangers on Wednesday. I'm going to guess it could be Jesse Chavez in a bullpen game or Drew Smiley. That's right, Todd. Drew Smiley's on the Rangers. That's a lefty that they could throw at us. Thursday afternoon.
He's demoted to the bullpen, but they'd be smart to start a lefty against us. And Smiley's always had good success against the Indians, if memory serves me correctly.
Correct. And he's pitched 3 innings the other day out of the pen in the game that Chavez was the opener. And then Bieber and Mike Minor Thursday is going to be a good one. Mike Minor, I don't know where he's come from. I know who he is, but out of nowhere, after being such a highly touted guy for years with the Braves, goes to Kansas City, now with the Rangers this year, and he's been really good for them, really good.
He had Tommy John a couple years ago and came back, and I think they gave him a pretty big contract in Texas. Like, not bad. And, he's been very good. He's been their best starter all year, so that's going to be a great matchup to watch, that day game. Hopefully it's not, beastly. I've spent plenty of time in the Metroplex during the summer. Not a great place to be. That's why they play the majority of their games at night. Surprised they're playing this one during the day, to be honest.
We had that great road trip, you and me and executive producer Jeremy Goldberg, and went to a couple of games down in Texas, and I ran into Tom Mastny's family.
I was just going to say, how about some story time right now? A little 2007, we went to a Friday night game. It's a Tribe playoff year. Friday night in Arlington. Tribe won. Joe Borowski got the save, I believe. Is that correct?
Wasn't it the year? I thought it was the year after, because wasn't I congratulating the Mastnys on how their son pitched the year before in the playoffs?
I thought it was 07. Maybe you're right, though. No, because I feel like you went up and he got lit up, and you went up and people were giving him shit, so you went up to the parents and were like, "Don't worry, we love your boy," or something to that effect.
I just will never forget his performance at Fenway Park. It just
Oh, you mean when he had to face? I believe it was in a row. He had to face Ortiz, Lowell, and who was the third guy? It was Ortiz, Lowell, and someone else. It was like 3, 4, 5, and he had to get them out. And it was the 10th inning.
Yeah, it was all we had left. It was all we had left.
Got him 1, 2, 3. Maybe it was Nomar was the third guy.
It was fantastic.
Got him 1, 2, 3, and then we ended up. That was when Frankie hit the grand slam off of
John Lester.
John Lester, yeah, and we won. It was game 2, right?
Correct.
Game 2.
Yeah. Then we came home, and I was at game 3 for Jake Westbrook, I believe. Sitting. I was in 4
were Westbrook and Paul Bird, and we won them both.
The Bird man. Let's not talk about the rest of that series. Okay, so that's Tribe Rangers this week. Texas playing well, but good news. Not good news because the guy's hurt, but good news for the Indians. Hunter Pence today, Todd, left the game with the Reds in their 11-3 loss with a bad hamstring injury. He's been on fire for them.
Yes, he has.
Joey Gallo.
Kind of guy.
Go ahead.
Hunter Pence is like the kind of guy that the Indians would have picked up this offseason on a free agent deal, and the Rangers got him, and he in like the same type of situation that we picked up Hamley on, for example.
Right. No, Hunter Pence, a lot of people thought he was done. He's had a good year hitting over 300. He's hurt. Don't expect him to play this series. Joey Gallo's on the injured list.
Yes, he is.
With the oblique, that's a huge loss for the Rangers.
Another guy who kills the Indians.
And Nomar Mazar is hurt. So he may be back, might not be, but they're a little bit banged up right now. They're playing guys like Delano DeShields. It has to play because he was benched earlier in the year. Willie Calhoun, Shin-Soo Choo. Can you believe Choo's having a good year? Very good year.
How many more years does Choo have left on that team?
On that ratty contract he got?
I believe it was 7 for 124 he got, which is
it's got to be. This has got to be the last year.
He was 1 year on the Reds? Or more than one?
I think he was a rental, right? I think he was 1 year. He's been in Texas ever since. Look, when push comes to shove, we always know in the clutch he'll ground out he'll ground one to second.
Nothing. That is one of my favorite bits of yours ever. Shin-Soo Choo, losing player.
He is.
Oh, we've been saying that.
How many times have you ever seen him in the playoffs? I think once with the Reds, maybe twice with Texas.
I think 0. I don't think he's ever been. I think he's like on that list where
he's been in the postseason.
He's played the most games without being in the playoffs.
I'm pretty sure he's been in the postseason at least once. But look, and Elvis Andrus. I mean, what can you say about that guy? You want to talk about an Indian killer? Oh my God!
But did he have the streak of like 45 hit games in a row against the Indians with getting a hit that came to an end last year?
He's right up there.
Something crazy like that.
So be aware of that when the Indians play the Rangers this week. Texas has played well, but they're banged up right now. We might be seeing them at a good time. And then, of course, the Tigers come back to Progressive Field next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm looking at a Spencer Turnbull Friday, from what I can see. Saturday or Saturday, they'll have to pitch that Ryan Carpenter, the lefty that we racked around Friday, and then Sunday would be Daniel Norris, who's had some success against the Indians because he's pitching Tuesday in Pittsburgh. But again, avoiding the lefty Matt Boyd, who is a hot trade commodity, and is, avoiding him twice in a week is a break because he's very good against the Indians.
Yep.
Are you going? When are you going this weekend?
I will be going on Sunday. That's it.
Sunday. That's it. All right.
That's it. I can't. I'm indisposed Friday night with the last night for the big man, and then before he heads off, and then Saturday night I got a party that I will tell you about off the air.
Ooh, an off-air party.
The executive producer Jeremy will also be in attendance.
Whoa, that'll be a hardcore Tribe discussion for sure at the party. By the way, we did
there will be major Tribe fans at this event. We did gain a game on the Twins. We're only 10 back. Yeah, as I said last week, I'm only concentrating on what the Indians are doing. The Indians win and take care of business. They will get into the wild card. I truly believe that. So, and it's going to be very interesting to see which way the Red Sox go. They can't, their payroll is up, over 200 million.
They've won five in a row, albeit it was against the Orioles this weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
does that count?
The Orioles, actually. It's unbelievable how bad the Orioles are, by the way. That's the worst team I've ever seen.
They're pretty
They
bad.
should have Nick Castellanos playing right field.
Oh, hey. All right, that'll do it for another week of the Dairy Brothers Tribecast. You can find us at waitingfornextyear.com and follow us on Twitter at Dairy Bros Tribe, BROS. We did I did a Dave Portnoy-esque, it wasn't as good, pregame video. And then also...
We should do more of that. I'll start doing that stuff.
Please do.
Before games, too. Absolutely, I will.
And brought to you...
enjoyed it.
Thank you. And brought to you by Groove Ride, GROOVERYDE.com. Check us out. Check Todd at any of the Groove Ride locations. He's everywhere and he's there, but they're really the best workout place in Cleveland. So, all right, dude, let's keep this momentum going.
All right, you got it, boss.
See ya.